Well, thank you very much for your time. I just want to take a step back maybe on Aeris and just give you a bit of a background. Aeris has just come out of a final restructure over a 5-year period. We as a new management team became involved to look at the company. It used to be old Straits Resources. And as of yesterday, we finished off a $35 million equity raise, which is sort of getting a balance sheet to a position where we are now ready to grow the business. And we have significantly restructured the organisation from a debt perspective. We'll talk a little about that, but also from operational perspective, we were generating cash and can look forward on how do we grow this business to the next mid-tier copper producer in Australia. The normal disclaimer. So what's a value proposition for Aeris at this point in time? We've got the Tritton copper mine running 2 underground mines, got a 1.8 million tonne process plant. Doing this year, we're forecasting 24,500 tonnes of copper. We just released our quarterly this morning at 6,500 for the quarter, which is in line and actually better than the original plan. We've got a 5-year reserve life with significant upside from exploration and extensions of mine life from the current mines. And then, as I said earlier, we are very focused on how do we grow this business now beyond the current operating mine. And we've got a dual process of looking at organic growth through our own exploration tenements, but also looking at how do we grow it to extend the current production through M&A. On top of that, we got the exploration package around Tritton, 1,800 square kilometres of ground. So far has discovered 750,000 tonnes of copper, where there is significant upside, and we'll talk more about those. We're currently drilling a project called Kurrajong, and have seen some really good results. And I'll show you a few of those. On top of what we got at Tritton, at the mine, we got the joint venture on Torrens. We got 70% of that joint venture. It's a very large anomaly in the right address between Olympic Dam and Kiripitina in South Australia. And we are planning to start drilling there by the end of this calendar year, probably in December. Over the last 5 years, we improved the balance sheet. As I said earlier, we just raised $35 million. Debt when we joined the company 6 years ago as a new management team was $136 million US. As of today, it's $29 million US. And as part of that, we only paid around $30 million in cash. The rest was all through negotiations with the banks. Got a strong management team. We have been together now for more than 8 years running Northern Goldfields before this and now running Aeris. And we're all long-term commitment to make this successful. It took us 5 years to get it to a point where we can now actually market the business. We can look at future growth and actually extend the mine life at Tritton. The corporate overview, you can see the share price there on the graph on the right-hand side. The share price has gone from 4 cents to over 33 cents over the last 18 months, or 15 months rather. And you can see there the price came back as we raised money at 20 cents. It's now back trading around 19 to 20 cents. But a significant improvement over that period. And it all came as we restructured the debt. The operating mine is doing really well. And Torrens came up, and that is bringing quite a bit of excitement to the market. Market cap sitting at $116 million fully diluted. Net debt position of $24 million and enterprise value of 140, as you can see. That just gives you a bit of history. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but if you look at the top graph, you can see the production into June 2013, which was quite low, has gone up to over 30,000 tonnes for FY 15 and 16. That allowed us with a position where we generated cash over that period and allowed us the position to negotiate with the banks. And at the same time, we increased and maintained the reserve position over that period. On the financial restructure, I think it's worth just spending a little bit of time. You can see the top graph showing what was the operating cash flows in 2012, losing money, significant money in that period, where the guys at the mine did an amazing job to turn that around, started to deliver cash flow out of the business. And at the same time, we were continually negotiating the debt with a bank, specifically Standard Chartered Bank, and the debt went from 136, as I said earlier, down to 29. The last capital raise we did, 35 million, 20 million US dollars of that was used to pay down the debt from 50 down to 29. And the senior debt of that piece is now sitting at $10 million, which is a very manageable position for us moving forward. So FY18 was a very good year for us. We did 26,600 tons of copper at a C1 cost of $260. You can see there the quarterly production over the 4 quarters in 18 went up as high as actually close to 8,000 tons of copper. We just released a quarterly, as I said earlier, 6,700, which was better than what we planned. And in this period of 2018, we started to put more money into exploration because of the previous 5 years, all the money was used to manage debt. And drilling the project Kurrajong, I'm not going to go through those results, I'll show it you on a separate graph, it's been very exciting for us, and it shows that there's a potential new project which will come in post the 5 years of reserves of the current projects. This just gives you a bit of a feel for where Tritton sits. So that black outline for us, that's our tenement package. It's in a region where you can see CSA mine from Glencore, which is a copper mine. You can see the Peak mine, which Aurelia just purchased from and you can see Hera down the bottom. So it's in a region where there's a lot of copper. We've got 1,080 square kilometers of that ground, a lot of potential targets. And we now, for the first time, will start to spend money. And about 50% of that 1,800 square kilometers of ground hasn't been touched for exploration. So most of the copper so far has come from that southern part of the tenement package. So the 5-year reserve plan will produce an average of about 24,000 tons of copper. We'll do about 1.6 million tons through a process plant. And on top of that, we also get a gold credit, and gold would be about 5,000 ounces per annum, which also help with the cash flows. These are 8.4 million ton in reserve. The projects which we will mine over that period, at this stage we mine the Tritton underground mine and Murrawombie. Those two will be mined for at least the next 3 years, but as you'll see on the next slide, there's a huge upside for those to extend. Then we'll bring in Avoca Tank, which is a small, high-grade underground mine, and then we'll close it off with 2 open cuts. But as all those projects have got further upside to extend at depth, the life of mine will just extend further. And on top of that, exploration success, like we're currently having at Kurrajong, will then be added to that reserve life, and also the new greenfields exploration, which we call it, would then extend the life further. So this is just an example. We call it near mine exploration or brownfields exploration. As you can see there, that is the Tritton underground mine. Just this year, we've, through grade control drilling, found the south wing and the north wing. We're busy drilling those out to bring that into the mine plan. And then we know this deposit extends at depth. We're busy putting it a drive in, and we'll drill that out at depth. So within the next 12 months, these would be known, and we'll bring that into the production plan. On top of that, towards the north, we got a deposit called Budgery Gar. It's got a 1.6 million ton at 1.5% grade already in resource. We're planning to put a drive out there in the next 18 months or so, and then start to draw that out. That can be mined from the current infrastructure. It's about 600 meters away from Tritton. So it would make a lot of sense as you extend the mine life to bring Budgery Gar through the Tritton infrastructure. On top of that, you see at the bottom, we got Murrawombie underground mine, a mine which we started about 18 months ago, and has been very surprised about. When we really started, we thought the grades are going to be 1.3% copper. We're currently mining grades above 1.6%. So typically what happens with us, as you get better quality grade control drilling, we see an uplift in the grade, and that tends to be across the mines. Murrawombie, we know extent. It just doesn't make sense to drill it out from surface or from the current position. So as we get to the right position, we'll drill that out, and that should extend the mine life. So within the money we raised of the 35, we allocated about $3.5 million towards expediting these exploration projects at Tritton, and then $3.5 million for the project in Torrens. So this is sort of the regional map, and as you can see on that in the red, the bottom southern part is about 50 kilometers of corridor, which has so far delivered 750,000 tons of copper discovered. That northern part, which is actually 65 kilometers, if you take the zigzag of the corridor, hasn't been explored. The only exploration we did on it was in that top little bit up there. Oops, sorry, wrong way. In that top bit over there, we did an airborne EM survey and we picked up 4 new targets. So within the next 12 months, we'll actually do a ground-based EM over those and see what those targets can deliver. And that, which I highlighted in green, would be an airborne EM, which we'll do in the next month. What we're looking for here is not, we know there's a lot of small targets there. We're looking for another big target which can replace Tritton or Murrawombie, which is a 10+ million ton ore body at plus 2%. The probability of finding something like that is very high. There's already 2. You've got Murrawombie, which is a plus 10 million tons. You've got Tritton, which has already delivered more than 20 million tons in copper. We're also in the process, in that grey bit, of applying for that mining, for exploration lease, and we believe that this corridor actually extends further up into that tenement package. So as that gets approved, we'll add that to the exploration tenements. But for us, using this plus the brownfields exploration, you can see there's significant upside. The bit of information about Kurrajong, there was some drilling historically which had shown good results. We kicked off drilling last year, or this financial year, to see what we can see there. Some of the results we've seen was very exciting, where you can see there's 17 meters at 2.6% copper, plus 0.3 gram a ton gold. We had 17 meters, we had 19 meters. So it looks like this deposit, as it gets deeper, it gets thicker. We're currently drilling it out to see what happens further at depth. We're also drilling it up to see how far it goes up to surface. So we've already identified 800 meters of down plunge, and we can see that within the next 12 months, we'll keep drilling that and we'll bring that into a resource position as we move forward. So that just summarizes the mine around Tritton. An operating mine, generating cash, significant upside in exploration from both brownfields and greenfields exploration. Then Torrens. Now this project has been in the courts for over 10 years through native title negotiations or positions. We now have approval to drill, and we can start drilling at any time. We're the 70% joint venture holder with Argonaut Resources. You can see there the address where it sits. That's Olympic Dam, that's Carrapateena, and that's our tenement. So it's in the right address. It's in the IOCG corridor. I think everyone in this room will know that Olympic Dam is very large. It's got a very large footprint, and I think that's what has excited the market a little, is basically this slide where you can see in that black outline, that's the size of the gravity anomaly of our tenement, and this down here was the actual size on the same scale was Olympic Dam. So it's significantly larger, and you can look at it probably different ways. You might have to spend a lot of money to find something, or you have something which makes a lot of sense. So what we are planning, there has been historically 6 holes drilled in 1977 and in 2008 before it was stopped. Some of those holes intersected what you would like to see in an IOCG deposit. One of the holes intersected 246 meters at 0.1% copper, which is very low, but it does show there's something, and within that there was some higher and better grades. We just finished a new airborne gravity survey, and originally we thought we had 10 gravity targets. It now came out that there's actually 28 anomalies which has been identified, and really, as I said earlier, we've allocated $3.5 million from the latest capital raise to start the drilling, and we're planning to do the first drill hole in December this year, and we'll see where we go from there. So if you summarize our main objectives for this year, is we said we want to do 24,500 tons of copper at a C1 cost of around $275 to $290 a pound. Now that we've gone through all the 5 years of restructure, we have put the focus 100% back on exploration, both from a brownfields and a greenfields exploration position. We will start to progress Avoca Tank, which is the next underground mine for mining lease applications, and then we'll do the EM surveys, and we'll actually commence drilling at Torrens. But really, from a strategic objective for us, it's how do we grow this business beyond Tritton? We always, as a team, said we want more than one asset. There's a space for someone to take. We've got 25,000 tonnes to add more assets and make something which we can get into 50 or bigger in terms of tonnes. So we are actively looking at M&A. We've now got a balance sheet. We've got a share register which we can use and actually grow this business beyond of just where we are. I think that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andre.